I have 729. I don't know why you're...
Forget what you learned in school. Never mind what your parents told you, and disregard what your friends say. From now on, the only people you need to listen to are these guys. For the next several minutes, they'll take you on a journey through the political jungle. And when your journey is over and you're safe at home, they promise you'll be stronger, smarter, and just plain better. So buckle up, hang on to your ears, because your journey starts now.
Why did you let her in here again?
I told you to cover your face, because every time she sees it, she screams and runs away.
It happens. Break a lot of cameras, too.
It'll do that.
Yeah, well, what are you going to do?
We want to welcome you to another episode of At Odds.
We do.
For another journey through the political jungle with your guides, Nate and Brian, where we are broadcasting from the back room of the Nook and Cranny, pub and studio in a small eastern village in what country, Nate?
Kyrgyzstan.
Kyrgyzstan. Now, where exactly is Kyrgyzstan?
It's over near India, but kind of by Australia.
Okay.
It's
all right.
I learned it from John Kerry, actually.
Yeah.
And in Nigeria, they support the rule of law in Burma. They support democratic institutions in Kyrgyzstan and Georgia, mindful from our own experience that it takes a long time to get democracy right.
You know, our good
in Nigeria, they support the rule of law in Burma.
Why do you do that? Don't do that, Brian.
What?
Just play it once.
That was our producer.
He was talking about our good ally, Kyrgyzstan.
Yeah, and that's where we are. We're at the
Kyrgyzstan.
Nook and Cranny.
The Nook and Cranny in Kyrgyzstan.
But he mentioned Georgia. Is Georgia finally Democratic now? Because I know that Florida was coming along, South Carolina was coming along, and I think Georgia now is Democratic.
Yeah, it's a blue state now.
And what was the state that just ratified the slavery?
Ethiopia?
No, it wasn't Ethiopia. No, it was Mississippi or...
Was it Mississippi?
I think so.
It might be.
Yeah.
I think you meant Kyrgyzstan, which actually is kind of an ally of ours, but being Secretary of
We're not
State,
there.
I wouldn't expect him to know that.
I know it.
I would expect him to think that we were going to Kyrgyzstan.
Or
it takes a long time to have democracy in Kyrgyzstan.
Or that Georgia is in the south of the United States.
Yeah, he got that one wrong, too. Next, he'll be talking about turkeys or something. It'll be ridiculous.
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
What are you going to do? Yeah. He is a Vietnam veteran. We got to give him that.
Yeah, he was in Vietnam.
Now, I just want to give a brief outline. Today's show, we'll be talking with Tony DeMont, who's chairman of the Michigan
Campaign for Liberty, right?
What? Campaign for Liberty, thank you.
State coordinator.
He's the state coordinator, that's right. And that was
Phil.
Phil Hoffmeister, who's president of Michigan Open Carry and connoisseur of fine wine and women. And we'll be discussing those two gentlemen, along with some other people for the Campaign for Liberty, being asked to disarm at the Michigan Republican Convention in Lansing.
Wait.
What?
You said Republican Convention, or this wasn't at the Democrat Convention?
No, it
wasn't at the Green Party Convention?
No other convention.
It was the Republican Convention?
The grand old
the
party.
Michigan Republican?
The GOP.
The GOP.
They were asked no guns allowed, which was funny because the Democratic convention was going on at Cobo Arena in Detroit, and there were people that were carrying guns there with no problem. So go figure.
That is interesting.
So we'll talk to these guys.
Snyder will switch parties pretty soon.
That's what I didn't get is we actually have some audio of that. I don't know if Phil's got any of that handy on his phone or not, but we don't need it right now. But when we talk about it in a minute, he recorded the interaction first with the security guard and then with the sergeant of arms for the convention. And we'll talk about a little bit more about that later.
It's a bit lengthy, about 10 minutes.
Well, we won't listen to the whole thing, but maybe we won't even listen to any of it. But you can relate what's going on. But I want to remind people that this is a live call-in show, except where it's recorded and played. But
if we're not live, don't call us.
If we're not live, it's recorded. And the number is 248-455-ODDS. That's 248-455-6337.
7 lines are open.
I had the sibling S's on the mic.
You did. Yeah, no, that cool thing that I bought you today, it doesn't really help with the S sounds like that.
It doesn't, but with the P's it
does.
A
little bit.
The P's
a little bit. Helps a little bit.
I'll try not to say.
Also, like us on Facebook, facebook.com/@oddshow.
Yeah, Facebook,
very
Facebook,
important.
Facebook.
Hey, it's important. It's all about status.
Go to our website, too, and contact us, leave us comments, tell us we're great, we suck, whatever, at www.atoddshow.com. We're going to talk a little bit about the SAM March. That's the Second Amendment March in Michigan at the state capitol on March 20th from 10 until 2. We have a live band. We have some great speakers. We got Jan Morgan and Doug Giles from out of state. We'll have some local politicians, some regular people, a great band, which is, what's the name of the band, Nate? High Class Truckers.
Let me look it up. Yep, High Class Truckers.
High Class Trucker. Great, mediocre band. And
bass player's a little odd.
Yeah, and the drummer really stinks. But anyways, other than that, please come to the march. Tell your friends on Facebook and all social media. Or if you can't make it, please donate some money. It's going to cost us about $6,000 for the rally. Also want to say buy our book, because Nate and I will have kids in college. I have one in college. That's myparentsopencarry.com. My Parents Open Carry, a great kids book on the Second Amendment.
And Brian, about the march, I think it's important to mention that we're gathering at 9:30 at the corner of Pennsylvania and Michigan to march to the Capitol.
Right. It's about 0.8 miles walk from there to the Capitol for the young folk and those that are really in good shape. I won't be there. I'll be organizing at the tent, not a beer tent, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'll be busy too, actually, unfortunately. I really was kind of looking forward to marching, but I won't be able to either.
Well, if you set up really early, you could.
Well, don't worry. I'll be there leading up the pack for you.
All right.
That'll
Excellent. The other thing I want to talk about a little bit, since Phil's here, we've mentioned this before. Michigan has a very important gun case that may be heard with the Michigan in front of the Michigan Supreme Court right now. There's been an appeal to it, and that is the Capital Area District Library versus Michigan Open Carry. The library says they can control guns because they don't have to do anything that anybody tells them. We are saying, Michigan Open Carry, that they are an authority and are a local unit of government, controlled by a local unit of government, and that firearm preemption takes place, and they can't control firearms. And the Court of Appeals agrees with Michigan Open Carry, but Cattle is spending over $100,000 or so of taxpayers' dollars to fight
and at the same
case.
time, they're trying to raise $200,000 for a local library expansion in Holt.
Great. So there's $100,000 lost.
It would have been half paid for already.
Yeah. So
they just
not
need
real
more,
smart people.
more buildings to ban guns from. So.
Yep. And so we'll see if the Michigan Supreme Court will hear it. We're hoping they won't, but they need money, so you can go to michiganopencarry.org and go to their website, and you'll find the donate button there. And
michiganopencarry.org/donate, as a matter of fact.
Okay. And donate your $100 like I did, and many other people have done. And Phil, any other updates on that? What's going on? Have you heard anything? What's the likelihood it's going to get heard? I heard there was a amicus brief filed.
Well, we did file our reply
Okay.
brief to the Michigan Supreme Court, and there's the District Library Association, or rather 12 or 13 different libraries have filed an amicus brief with the Supreme Court on behalf of the Capital Area District Library. Our amicus are due to file briefs within the next 20, I think they're doing 16 or 17 days from now. Maybe, actually now we're down to 14. I won't say who they are, but we do have several amicus that are planning to file briefs.
Excellent.
During the period here.
Excellent. All right. Any now, who was the one that wrote the amicus brief for the cattle
That was one of the lawyers involved in that brief was Clifford Taylor. He was the former Chief Justice of he's the former Chief Justice of the Michigan Supreme Court.
Oh.
I think around 2006 was when he left the court. Don't quote me on that.
We're glad he's gone.
And
well, believe it or not, he was a so-called Republican too. So.
Yeah.
and he's asking them to overrule the Court of Appeals decision then.
Right.
So
right. Well, he's getting
interesting.
paid. He's getting paid.
Yeah, that is really a good point. He is in the private sector now being paid. He's doing his job. I don't know personally whether he actually supports the cause or not.
Well, because attorneys have no principles, right? They just
capitalism.
They
right?
just
pay, all capitalists are evil.
They just get paid and they do their work for the highest bidder.
They do have principles. They're
Yeah.
clients.
Oh yeah, that's their principle.
Yeah.
And that's fine. We need lawyers.
So the
What was that?
we're expecting that the Supreme Court is going to take 4 to 6 months to determine whether or not they actually want to hear the case. So there probably won't be a decision of whether or not they actually want to hear the case
Until midsummer.
until pretty much midsummer.
I'm on pins and needles right now.
I can see that.
Not literally. It was a metaphor.
Oh, all right.
I wanted to mention now we have 73 companies, gun companies, that are saying they will not sell their products, guns and accessories, to law enforcement agencies in the United States if their states enact unconstitutional gun laws, which is all of them.
Good for them.
And I would read the list. I wanted to read the list when it was only like 10 people, but now it's 73 companies, and it's growing like every week. They're adding companies.
Didn't you used to have a job reading the side effects on drugs for commercials? So I think there's no excuse for this.
Well, I think it's become much more in vogue to do something like this and to be truly supportive of firearm rights. If you look in the Michigan State Legislature, there are several state legislatures who have recently, that are Republicans that have recently seen the light, and they just can't wait to get their hands on a good gun bill so they can say that they're good Second Amendment people.
Yeah, I agree. Do you? Well, let's see. What do we want to talk about? Oh, let's do this. Well, we're getting close to an ad time. We
can go to break now if you want. That's fine. We are pretty close to a break. So
all right, let's do that because I have some other sound of bites, and I've got an NRA ad and a band ad by our friends again at. Oh no, this is Clear Channel. Excuse me. They banned a ad by OurGun.org, and I wanted to play that just to spite them.
And I just got a note that it looks like it might be up to 80 companies that have now joined that list. So
excellent.
We will be right back.
It's changing.
The voice of American conservatism. WRS Digital. Red State Talk Radio.
Fact. U.S. credit card debt is 8 times larger than it was 30 years ago. No wonder you and I are feeling the credit card crunch. You're not alone. Increasing prices and the costs of credit are stretching budgets and preventing people just like us from getting ahead or just catching up with our debts. At American Financial Debt Relief, we can help. We have tested ways to help you get out of debt. Find out how now. The call is free to learn more. If you qualify, we can reduce your interest, show you how to stop your debt from getting larger, and help you get out of debt faster than you can by making minimum payments. So if you're falling behind on your credit cards or medical bills, give us a call right now, where a free 5-minute call can change your life.
800-978-4815. 800-978-4815. Reduce your credit card debt. Call now. 800-978-4815. 800-978-4815.
Real radio for real Americans.
Red State Talk Radio.
Obama wants your money, and he's determined to get it. He wants your money to buy off unions, his Wall Street cronies, and to expand the Obama welfare nation. Well, Swiss America is determined to stop him from stealing your money. They want to send you an award-winning film, I Want Your Money, on DVD that exposes his plan. It'll help keep the government's hands off your money using gold, silver, and other hard asset strategies to protect your hard-earned money. Call today and request the DVD I Want Your Money, normally $19.95, yours absolutely free. Let Swiss America show you how to use gold, silver, and other hard assets to protect your hard-earned money. Call now. 800-932-5146. 800-932-5146. Call Swiss America right now. Learn all about investing in gold. 800-932-5146. 800-932-5146. Call now.
And we're back. Did you get that number? All I hear is 1-800.
Yeah, I got the number. I
already called.
You know, some people might be wondering what the Nook and Cranny is. It's actually a bar, and they have great drinks here. I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, we're having nice cocktails. We're going to have some lobster and stuff a little bit later, as we always do on show night. What do you think of the sequester? Big, scary sequester, the sequestration, or I call it the Obama's castration.
Obama's castration, you mean Obama's idea that turned into
Whoops.
Oh boy, we're a one day away, so now we're gonna release a bunch of illegals from prison because we won't have the budget to keep them in prison, and then we're gonna blame the Republicans for all the illegals running around
all
the
the
country.
cops will be laid off.
Cops will be laid off. We won't have the TSA, so airlines won't be safe anymore. But we don't have to worry about that because airlines won't be running because we won't have air traffic control.
There you go.
But don't worry about that because we won't be able to eat, because we won't have meat inspectors, because there won't be meat inspectors. Local police, police that patrol around the Nook and Cranny here in Kyrgyzstan, whatever John Kerry made up, they won't be there because local taxes pay for them. So since the federal government will have to cut spending, then we won't have local police.
You know, I have a big question. Maybe I've had my head buried in the gun sand a little bit too long, but what's this sequestration stuff?
Well, what this is a couple long time ago, right? The Republicans and Democrats were kind of childish, and they couldn't come up with an agreement on how to reduce the deficit, right? And so they wrote into law Obama's idea. Republicans and Democrats both signed off on it. They wrote into a law that if they don't come up with a way to cut the deficit by March 1st, then there's automatic spending cuts that are going to a lot of defense cuts, which really is the only bad thing about cutting defense here. It's going to happen because I don't think the Republicans and the Democrats are going to come up with any sort of plan over the next couple
Republicans
of days.
are going to call us bluff.
3 more days.
Democrats aren't going to do anything.
Well, the Republicans will cave on something. Probably what will happen is we'll all end up with higher taxes coming out of this.
I hear this every few years federally, and I hear it with the state. You know, it's doomsday predictions, and then
doomsday. Well, it's one horrible event to another, because you know what's going to happen on March 31st?
Nothing.
Oh, the continuing resolution that they passed because they couldn't pass a budget is going to expire. And if they don't do something about that in the next 30 days, then the federal government will have to shut down.
Hasn't it been better part of 4 years since they've passed the budget?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Very long time. And Obama was late submitting his budget again this year. Bush was late, too, but he's not a lot better than Obama.
And the thing is, it's just it's going to, if you look at the overall budget and stuff, it's
we're
just
talking like $80 billion, $84 billion on the trillion.
That's an aircraft.
In the bucket.
That's an aircraft carrier.
Well, and that's the thing, because Obama does have a bit of discretion over what is cut.
Of course he
and
does.
Of course he'll go with defense, and we won't have troops on the ground. They're talking about furloughs for 800 or 80,000 or 800,000. 42 bajillion people in the Pentagon. We're going to have furloughs. We're not going to be able to pay our troops, right? I mean, that's another thing.
Don't forget the Social Security.
Social Security is a big one. The biggest hit, I think, that I heard is going to be to the National Drug Intelligence Committee, which
I didn't know.
It doesn't exist anymore. That came up in a report that it would be hit pretty hard, and
He'll be devastated.
It was decommissioned last year.
Yeah.
So
well,
that's interesting.
I wonder what Rand Paul has to say about that.
I don't think Rand Paul has much to say about anything.
Oh, I don't know
other than a lot of good things.
Ran for president.
I would say balderdash. It's untrue, unfair, dishonest, disingenuous. The president is making stuff up. He puts law enforcement, he puts firemen and policemen, who 98% of them are being paid for with your local taxes, and says you're going to lose your local policeman because of this. It's not true. The sequester is a slowdown in the rate of growth of government. It's the least we can do. Our country is drowning in a sea of debt, borrowing $50,000 a second. We have to slow down spending. And for the president to use this histrionics is really, I think, beneath the office of the presidency.
He made a good point there, and it was something that you touched on earlier, that this $84 billion cut isn't a cut at all. It's a decrease in the rate of increase. Right. The federal government still stands to spend like $15 billion more this year than last year, even with these draconian cuts that they're talking about.
And we need
ran for president in 2016.
We never we need cuts anyway.
Rand Paul at this point, unless he's sandbagging here or something a little bit, would be a good choice, I think, for president. Definitely much better than his father, I think.
Better than Romney, too.
Much better than Romney. Yeah. And like I said, unless he's sandbagging a little bit, I can't read him.
Not better than Hillary.
Not better than Hillary. Chris Christie's going to have a tough time in the Democratic runoff.
I know
against
it'll
Hillary,
be between Christie and Hillary.
Wait a second, Chris Christie switched party?
Let's take a call real quick. Thank you for calling At Odds. You're on the air. What's on your mind?
No, I was just listening to you guys talking about the decrease in the increase.
Yes.
I came upon that within the last couple of days when I was listening to, you got to watch Fox, actually, to get the other side of the story. And I actually watch Fox, MSNBC, I watch CNN, NBC. I just watch them all just to see what everybody's saying. And when you get the actual figures, it actually is a decrease in the increase. Now, you know that Obama has 95% of the media, backing him.
For sure.
They're not journalistic in any way like they used to be back in the old days.
Yeah, they used to be unbiased.
I remember that kind of stuff, but they just keep trumpeting his, they want to be nice, Rand Paul wants to be nice and stuff like that, disingenuous, all those nice words, but every once in a while someone comes out and says he's lying, and that's just about as simple as it can be. Because I'm afraid Republicans are too worried about being politically correct and upsetting, the people that actually watch that 95% of the liberal media when they're lying.
Yeah, exactly right. They're pandering. They think that the only way they're going to win in 2014 and 2016 is to pander to specific groups, and that includes the so-called moderates that they think watch MSNBC. And MSNBC claims to be nonpartisan and non-biased. They're more balanced than Fox News. I don't know if you knew that, but
they lie too pretty regularly.
Yeah.
They're no different than the president in this.
Yeah, well, they're one and the same almost. But hey,
Jeff, read your email.
Yeah, I already did.
Okay.
I've been using the cell phone to call you guys.
All right, excellent. That may help.
That's all I have left.
All right.
I'm sitting farther away from the computer right now. That might have been interfering somehow.
Okay.
Yeah, that might help a little bit. Well, hey, thanks for calling in.
Hey, Jeff, thanks as always. Take care, buddy.
Okay, no problem.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Carry on.
He makes a good point that the media really isn't doing their constitutional duty anymore. And
no.
Journalists used to be journalists, and they used to practice real journalism, and they used to
go for the truth.
Get the story, the actual story, and tell the truth. And there was pride there.
Mm-hmm.
There was pride there.
And they wanted to get things on the government, and they wanted to expose corruption, and they wanted to find the dishonesty.
They are the ultimate check and balance to the federal government, but they're just not doing that anymore. And I mean, Fox does do it a bit, but they can only do it so much, and they I think are being discriminated against in the press conferences and things. They don't get asked that many questions. And did you see at the governor's dinner at the White House, on top of the fact that Chris Christie was in the seat right next to Michelle Obama, which was really interesting? Doesn't mean much, but it's kind of like the seat of honor, and let's put the Republican there that hugged me on the beach
as a thank you,
and as a hey, thanks for winning the election for me, because Chris Christie, you asshole, that's what you did. But I mean, that's just water under the bridge, right?
Well, I don't think that Fox News is always fair and balanced. When you looked at the
they have Juan Williams on there too.
When you look at the primary for the 2012 election, anytime that someone brought up Ron Paul, they kind of like gave them the hook and said, get off the show. What was it? Judge Napolitano used to have a show there, and his show, he was an avid Ron Paul supporter.
Too libertarian for him.
His show kind of got canned. So
yeah.
Well, Geraldo Rivera's on there.
Yeah, and so is what's his name there?
Which one are you talking about? I don't know who you're talking about.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, my point was Obama gave a speech to the governors at the governor's dinner that they do at the White House, and said, I wish I had the clip, but he said, "Okay, now I'd like the press to leave the room so I can take some questions." And he was serious, and I don't know if that's normal, if presidents do that, if it's customary to have the press leave so the governors can ask questions and they can discuss things in private.
Yeah.
But it's just indicative. Even Democrats, good. Even MSNBC, Chuck Todd even was talking about how it's not really right that the president has closed the door to the media. And in fact, OFA, his action committee, who was the campaign committee, they're now turning into an activist group. They're auctioning off, if you raise like $500,000, you can have time with the president. So we have a president of the United States of America who is now selling time with himself. He's not available for press briefings. He's not available for conferences. He doesn't ask questions. When he does ask questions, it's softball questions to local radio stations and shows like At Odds and things like that. But now he's auctioning his time off. He's selling time. You've raised $500,000 and you can have dinner with the president of the United States of America.
They've been doing that for years.
Have they?
Yeah,
they have.
Yeah.
Groups do that. I don't know.
No, individuals have done that.
The president does it for fundraising for his campaigns.
Yeah,
this isn't a campaign. That's the point. That's exactly my point.
Well,
it's his campaign committee that's doing it. They are no longer campaigning for him because until he changes things, he won't be president again. Now, I mean,
maybe
that might be coming down the pipe. I don't know.
A little foreshadowing
again. One signature, and he can do it. Hell, he can use his auto pen to do it. He doesn't even have to sign.
Maybe he'll run for senator of Illinois again.
He might. That'd be good for him. I mean,
not many presidents have done that.
Can he make it much worse there? Honestly,
no, he can't.
In Chicago, anyway, there's parts of Illinois that are great and actually somewhat red.
I got to throw this in here just because I want to bring you down a little bit because you're a little hyper from witnessing that accident before.
It wasn't witnessing the accident, Brian. What it was the police running my name when they had no business running my name.
Yeah, I didn't really like that.
That's what upset me.
Here's a witness. Well, we're going to check you out, make sure you're not a felon or something, or you don't have any warrants.
Go to hell.
Massachusetts' murder rate has risen much faster than that of its neighbors or the United States rate since the 1998 firearms licensing bill. This is from Dr. John Lott's blog. Murders committed with firearms have increased significantly. Aggravated assaults and robberies, of course, involving guns have risen. Gunshots injuries have risen, according to FBI and state data. Now, to gun right groups, these statistics are evident that, gun control laws just don't work. Criminals are going to have it. And when you disarm law-abiding people, the wolves come in and prey on the sheep. Now, what the anti-gun people say is, well, that's the problem. We need more gun control, and no matter what we do, you can't stop it, so we got to get rid of all guns. And we got to get tougher laws with adjoining states, because those other states people bring in, crossing the state borders and bring guns in. And the problem with that is that those states were there before the ban went in, and you would have seen a flatness or, a decrease in crime.
Yeah.
So nothing's changed in that regard, except that this one state has had really tough. What, we got a phone call?
We've got a call. You want to take it?
Well, I think it's our guest.
Break, but we can take it. All right.
We can take it.
Thank you for calling At Odds. You're on the air. Is this Tony? Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
I can. Is this Tony?
This is Tony, yes.
Tony, how you doing? This is Nate.
Welcome to the show.
Got Brian and Phil here also.
Outstanding. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for calling in. We are live on the air. So why don't you and Phil, I guess, go ahead, Tony. Tell me exactly what happened at the Republican convention this last weekend.
Yeah, go ahead, Tony.
Well,
you tell him.
Phil, myself, and a number of other Campaign for Liberty activists were open carrying at the convention, both Friday and Saturday. And Friday night, I didn't experience any problems whatsoever. I walked around the facilities all evening, walked in and out of a number of different caucuses, and had nobody even really question me. For the most part, the Republican grassroots folks that were there to conduct their business were very supportive of what we were doing. And so we came back Saturday, and once again we're all open carrying. And I had left the booth to head outside for a minute, and as soon as I walked out of the convention room, I was stopped by a security guard who, inevitably said he was I believe the head of security there, and he told me that I'd have to take my firearm to my car. And so I have, I've paid attention to Phil quite a bit, considering he's so knowledgeable on these things. So I threw out a couple of things, and he wasn't quite budging. And during that time where we were kind of going back and forth, I had my phone out. I had, the first person I called was Phil, and called him up, and or I think I sent him a text message, and he came out. And at that point, we were still engaged with the security guard and explaining that we are completely within our rights here legally to be open carrying. Both him and I have concealed carry permits.
Right, and it was a public venue owned by the city of Lansing, so they can't enforce firearm laws in that regard.
At the point that I came out, I had my video camera going, and there's a video of that. And I think Brian said he's going to post it to the At Odds Facebook page later on.
We can do that so our listeners can watch that video.
And eventually, they said that the Republican Party was one that was banning guns. That the security guard said that his clients, the Republican Party, had asked that there be no guns there. So Tony and I, we insisted on waiting around and talking to the sergeant at arms for the Republican Party. Isn't that right, Tony?
We did. And well, first of all, I think it's very key, because I found that a lot of my activists didn't quite understand this, and I'm going to try to get this message out a little better. But they did not understand that since we were open carrying, we were not subject to the restrictions on the concealed carry. So that's an area where a lot of folks really aren't familiar, and my organization intends to do a better job on getting that information out.
Well, we try to do that too, Tony. You can refer people to Michigan State Police Legal Update 86, of course.
Well, yeah, that was one. One of the things that the security guard was saying, or at least the sergeant at arms was saying, was something about, well, this is an entertainment facility of over 2,500 people, therefore guns aren't allowed, and that's true for concealed carry in the state of Michigan. So they were throwing that out, and that's, you can open carry with the CPL. So Go ahead, Tony.
Well, and I'm not convinced that it is an entertainment facility with a seating
I don't
capacity
believe it is
over
either.
2,500. I don't think there is a seating capacity there.
No, they can try to get a opinion from attorneys or something on that, or a attorney general's opinion. But
Sure.
All right, go ahead, Tony. And so, the sergeant of arms, did he finally show up?
Yes, the Sergeant of Arms, Carl Berry, came out, and we essentially posed the question to him, and he was very flippant. He was rather, somewhat disrespectful. He came out with what appeared to be the attitude that we are bad guys.
He was a little cocky.
And yeah, and
he didn't like being
I was
recorded.
trying to ask him questions, and he just kept refusing to answer. And
well, one of the things
I needed to know was, was it okay with the Republican Party for us to be carrying firearms in there?
And he didn't want to answer that question.
He did not want to answer that question, and from my opinion, he was the one that told us no. He was the only one that had the authority to tell us no, and he was the one that told us no, albeit he couched it behind the excuse of some facilities policy. He said that is why he's telling us no, but he was the one that told us no.
Hey, so Tony, did you talk to Chairman Shostak about that at all?
Well, we attempted to talk to him when we ran into him on the convention floor, and he was, once again, he was very, very dismissive and very flippant, and he essentially defended their actions. And since then, he's pretty much just engaged in name calling and insinuating sinister motives. He's claimed that it was all a plot. It was all a setup.
It was staged.
That it was staged. And I open carry often. I live in Ann Arbor and Ypsilanti, so I get a real kick out of open carrying around here. And I know Phil goes, he open carries pretty much everywhere he goes.
Right, all over.
Even if it was staged, should the Republican Party not welcome a chance to show that they support the Second Amendment, that they understand that people have rights that are enshrined in not only the U.S. Constitution, but the state Constitution? Shouldn't the Republican Party stand up and say, of course we support this? If the facility kicks you out, that's on the facility. And right. Not have the party come out, and harass you.
Well, I think the best response Chairman Shostak could have given us was, I can see that you guys are upset about this, and you probably have legitimate concerns, and I would be happy to talk to you guys about them if you could give my office a call on Monday. That would have been the best thing for him to say, right. And that wasn't the message he gave us.
Yeah, he was kind of dismissive, as Tony said. Well, okay.
Yeah, and a quick apology, not necessarily, I was in the wrong, because I do understand that sometimes people don't quite understand the laws. I find it very hard that Carl Berry doesn't, because Carl Berry has been running security for the Republican Party for quite some time, and does it very often at big time.
Oh, that explains a lot.
I find it difficult that he doesn't, but okay. So let's give him the benefit of the doubt. Why instead come out and name call and insinuate that there are these sinister motives when he could have simply came out and said, "I apologize for the misunderstanding. The Republican Party fully supports gun rights, fully supports the rights for these folks to open carry, and I am willing to work with them on future venues." And you know what? He would have been a hero.
Right.
He would have been an absolute hero. I would not be getting all of these emails, really just, going nuts on him, because everybody feels like he's attacking what are essentially the victims here. Maybe victim is a little too harsh, because we're not really victims. I mean, the Republican Party had the right to say no guns, but he's certainly coming out and demonizing just a couple of average regular gun owners and gun advocates.
Now, Phil has talked with the Lansing Center, who's run by a city authority, talked to their attorney, and what did he say, Phil?
Well, I had a very productive conversation with him today, and he was of the opinion, we sat down and talked, and he said he listened to my side, and I explained the laws to him, and he said that he thought that they were an entertainment facility, and that they were certainly able to ban concealed carry because of that. But I pointed out to him that you can actually open carry in one of these pistol-free zones, according to Michigan State Police Legal Update number 86. And so we left with the idea that we're going to revisit. We're going to revisit it. It sounds very hopeful after the CADL case finally settles in the Supreme Court. But it sounds like he's very amiable to recommending to his clients that they change their policy.
So that would be a good thing. And they have to do it by law, I think. Even if it's determined that they're an entertainment facility, which I think is dubious, open carry would be allowed with a CPL. He also threw out the liquor license at you, too.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, they have a liquor license, and Phil told him that, it doesn't matter you can carry concealed or not with in a liquor establishment with a CPL, as long as they don't make a majority of their money from the liquor license, which I know they don't.
By the glass.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, those are all good things. We're running out of time, Tony. I want to say that Tony is the chairman of the Michigan Campaign for Liberty. And what's your website?
www.campaignforliberty.org.
Anything new on the horizon, real quick, in 30 seconds?
Well, we're still fighting the Obamacare exchanges, and we plan to use this incident to elevate the discussion on SB 213, which will, in large part, eliminate a number of those criminal empowerment zones. So those are our two big issues right now, and we're going to take this incident and we're going to try to catapult it into getting SB 213 passed.
Excellent. That would be a great law to get passed. Well, we want to thank you very much for taking this time to discuss your little incident, I guess, at the Republican convention. And I wish you the best of luck with the Campaign for Liberty, support gun rights and civil liberties, right?
Exactly.
All right.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Thank you, Tony.
Thank you.
And I want to thank Phil as well.
Thank you for having me.
I think... Now, Phil, you had to go somewhere?
Yeah, I actually have a board meeting to attend and oversee, so I'm going to be taking off.
All right.
All right, we are going to head to a break. We will be right back.
Red State Talk Radio.
The idea of government taking over healthcare is enough to make you sick.
The conservative voice.
I will never forget the day my son Jeremy told me he hated me and slammed the door in my face. I'm behavioral therapist Janet Lehman. Behavior problems can turn the child you love and your life into a nightmare. That's why my husband James and I created the Total Transformation, the step-by-step program that shows you how to fix the worst behavior problems and get your child to respect and listen to you again. No matter what the behavior, defiance, backtalk, angry outbursts, disrespect, we can help you stop it. Now you can get the Total Transformation for free. All you need to do is get the program and let us know how it works for you. You can keep it forever for free.
Limited number of free programs available. Call now. 1-800-257-2873. 1-800-257-2873. 1-800-257-2873. That's 1-800-257-2873.
Great shot, Bob. I think you're on.
I just followed your lead.
Hey, by the way, did you break ground on your new building?
No way. I'm holding off until I see what the future holds.
So you're seeing a fortune teller?
You know what I mean. Things look a little uncertain.
The only thing certain in business is if you're not growing, you're losing. And we just opened our 5th facility last week. If you're following my lead, you'll call General Steel. Their pre-engineered steel buildings could save you as much as half the cost compared to conventional buildings. And they're up in nearly half the time, and backed with a 50-year structural warranty.
Yeah, but steel buildings...
Hey, you've seen my building. Does it look like steel?
No, it looks great.
Ask about rebates that could save you up to $20,000. Look, you can stop paying rent and own a building that suits your business better and probably saves you money by operating more efficiently. In times like these, don't stop spending, just spend wisely.
800-398-8309, 800-398-8309, 800-398-8309, 800-398-8309.
Red State Talk Radio.
Why spend more than you have to on your life insurance? Did you know that term life insurance rates have fallen over 60% in the last 15 years? At the Life Insurance Quote Line, we monitor the rates, features, and financial strength of hundreds of life insurance products. For example, a healthy 40-year-old can protect his family with $500,000 of 10-year level term for less than $20 a month. Rates for women are even lower. And don't forget to ask us about the new term life policies that guarantee your money back even if you don't die. Since 1986, we've helped tens of thousands of people just like you save a fortune on their life insurance. Why not find out how much you can save? Write down this number and call today for your free quote. 1 5-minute call is all it takes. Call 800-610-3497. 800-610-3497. That's 800-610-3497. Rates, policy forms, and availability vary by state.
And we're back. So run and hide.
Yeah, I would run and hide. I don't know where that screamy girl went, but I would imagine that she should be screaming again.
I think she's got the police by now. The constable on duty in this town.
Chances are, if she called the police, he's now running her name through Lean, trying to figure out if she's a bad person.
Yep.
He'll be nervous. He'll be nervous while he does it, though. Don't worry.
And I'm surprised that you aren't in jail right now, because if he did check you through Lean, you should be in jail.
Yeah.
I don't know. You're wanted in like 7
remember
states.
Earlier when I told you not to answer the door if somebody knocks?
Yeah.
That's why.
What?
I ran. And so now I'm here hiding.
Oh, you mean I'm harboring a fugitive?
It's not illegal in Kyrgyzstan.
Oh, well, we're fine then.
So we're good.
Okay.
I think we're okay. Don't worry about it. Just let it go with the flow.
Oh, my chest pain now. I don't know. It's a little better. Wayne LaPierre was speaking at the Western Hunting and Conservation Expo in Salt Lake City, and I wanted to kind of play just a little bit of that where he talks about the Second Amendment.
Sure.
Do you have that?
I do.
I know that you, as gun owners and NRA members, deeply care about our Second Amendment freedoms in the United States.
Yeah.
The Second Amendment, it's not just words on parchment. It's not a frivolous suggestion from our founding fathers to be interpreted according to a whim. It lies at the very heart of what this country was founded upon. Our founding fathers knew that without the Second Amendment, all of our other freedoms could be in jeopardy. Our individual freedoms that we have as American citizens are the very essence of America. They are what make America unique.
That kind of just brings goosepimples to me.
It does. It's exactly spot on. I mean, he couldn't be more right about it. It is not just words. Don't start with me.
Don't start with me.
Don't start with me. He couldn't be more right.
Yeah, there are no gradations of right. You're either right or wrong.
There
you
are.
Can't be more right.
It's right to call a tomato a fruit.
It's
more right to call it delicious.
Well, okay, you've got me there.
Okay, so I got you there. Point is, the Second Amendment, all of the Constitution, all of the Bill of Rights, all of the amendments, all of it are not just words on parchment. Parchment meaning the paper it was written on.
Thank you, doctor.
I'm not a doctor, but
a philosophy.
Yeah.
All right.
Self-proclaimed.
Parchment.
But it's exactly the Second Amendment, the ability to fight back against a tyrannical government is exactly what this country was founded on.
Yep.
It's exactly why we are here today.
Yep.
Exactly why we're here today. And I love it when the NRA, somebody from the NRA, comes out and talks like this, because it gives me hope that they know what's going on. But then when they come and compromise on the next gun bill, I realize that they don't.
Or all the
But that
police
doesn't
schools.
take away from the fact that he was spot on with this. Spot on. Now, unfortunately, you guys heard it out there. We heard it. The people at this gun convention, it was a hunting, fish and wildlife, they heard it. We're all the choir that he's preaching to, right? I mean, for the most part, I'm sure we have some people in our audience who are anti-gun, and hopefully they heard that.
Some are on the fence.
Hopefully they heard that. I mean, that's what it's about.
Yep.
Nobody said freedom's perfect. People may get killed by guns, but guns do far more good than harm.
Same with
and
cars.
I would rather
Same with cars.
be, I've heard this, I'm paraphrasing, but I've heard it a lot of places, I would rather have freedom and it be hard than have a very, very easy time in slavery.
Yeah.
Right. Always, always, always err on the side of personal freedom.
A lot of people don't feel that way now, and that's what's sad.
No, I mean, who can argue against safety?
It's the tyrant's tool.
It is. It is. And it's very sad. But when you depend on a federal government that keeps giving you phones, that keeps giving you food, that keeps giving you housing, that keeps giving you transportation, that keeps giving you money for not working,
other people's money.
Ooh,
it's great
the people
until
who do work.
They run out of money.
The people who do work are paying for it. That's
what I mean.
That's exactly right.
It's like, oh, the government has all this money, they just give it away. Well, that money comes from somewhere, and it comes from people who work. And they would like to, keep the fruits of their labor, which is, their salaries.
Yeah, I have a book, and I'm going to read it, actually, this one, and I'm hoping that we can get the author on the show at some point. But one of the points he makes is that the reason that Democrats win so much, and this might not exactly be his point, but it lends itself to the idea. The reason they win so much is there's this notion that this money's free and that the government has money to hand out.
Right.
So if the government has the money, why not pass it around and redistribute it? It's the government's money. That the government's there to help people.
Right.
And it's this disillusion.
Nanny state, this father, mother, parent thing. They've got the money. I didn't have to work when I was young. My parents had the money. I didn't realize they had to work for it.
That's a great point, actually. And
yeah,
I mean that's a good point.
Thank you. I come up with once in a while.
It was the first one that I've heard since I met you 17 years ago.
That may be true. I'm not sure, but go ahead.
Just the point. I mean, when you grow up and you're a little kid and your parents buy you things, you don't know where it comes from. You don't understand that they work.
Yeah.
They go away every day and they come back and you have new toys.
And you're busy.
And then when you get into school, they're not teaching you any different nowadays.
No.
It's still government. You get government
meals,
you're entitled.
government,
I mean, they're giving dinner and things now to kids in certain states and cities.
Yep.
I mean, dinner at the school, that's
breakfast,
odd.
lunch, and dinner.
Breakfast and lunch and dinner. I mean, you can get all of your meals, and pretty soon they'll be buying you clothes. Oh, wait, they do that too, don't they?
Yeah, that's
interesting.
Unfortunately, that was the goal of a socialist government, is give me your children and I'll take care of them.
Yeah.
What I didn't like was the NRA didn't talk about getting rid of gun-free zones. They did talk about putting police into schools. I kind of disagree with that because that costs money.
Yeah.
And people with concealed pistol license, like parents, staff, and teachers already have them, allow them to carry guns. And some states are entertaining that.
Why put police in schools when a law-abiding, responsible teacher or principal or administrative assistant can carry a gun?
Right.
If my gym teacher had a gun, he couldn't walk real well, but he could probably shoot.
He could keep it in his jock strap.
He could have kept it in his fake hip, maybe. I don't know. But, something would have happened. He could have kept it safe. I would have trusted him to do that just as much as I trust a police officer, because they will go ahead and take your ID
and run it through lean
when you witness an accident and you stay around just to be a good citizen.
No good deed goes unpunished.
I'm angry.
You're fresh.
I'm angry.
You didn't need another.
I'm writing a letter.
Another shot of vodka.
I'm going to write a letter to somebody that I can find on the police and fire board of this city in Kyrgyzstan.
Oop. All right. Are we running out of time?
Yeah, we've got just about a minute left. I mean, any final thoughts, Brian?
Well, we could end with the Gonzalez thing. That's kind of patriotic. Do we have enough time or not?
Yeah, we have time for that. You want to do that?
This is an ad that Clear Channel blocked. It was a anti-gun control ad, and it's put out by OurGun.org.
Clear Channel Radio, just like Comcast, huh? Do they own part of NBC now?
They might. All
right. OurGuns.org.
Mr. President, members of Congress, you've been making a lot of noise about taking our guns away. But you might want to review history. 1835, Gonzales, Texas Territory. The authorities wanted to confiscate the big gun that protected that colony. You know what the people said? Come and take it. Because they were willing to fight for their freedom and their guns. So are we.
Come and take it if you want it. Come and take it if you can. Come and take it, but I warn you, you'll have to pry it from our cold dead hands. We want the freedom that God gave us, so you best not cross that line. If you want this gun, you gotta come through us and take it.
One shot at a time. Just like Gonzales. We're keeping
from my cold, dead hands.
I just goosebumps with that.
Yeah.
It'd get you going.
Isn't that great?
That's a good ad, and I can see why Clear Channel would want to block it.
Yeah. Can you?
No.
Because I can't.
No.
But, I mean, maybe they would want to. I don't know.
We're running out of time. We got to do a couple of spots, commercials, but we want to thank you all for listening.
Yeah, until next time, we want to thank you for listening to At Odds.
Bye-bye.
The voice of American conservatism. WRS Digital, Red State Talk Radio.
Hey, Nate.
Yeah, Brian?
You like candy, don't you?
Oh, I love candy.
Well, then you're going to love this site I found. It's Old Time Candy, and they have the kind of candy you ate as a kid.
Oh, really? That's really cool.
Yes, Nate, it is cool. It's the bee's knees and the cat's pajamas. They have candies from the 1920s right up to now. And if you can't decide what you want, you can order various size decade boxes. They have Slow Pokes, Black Cows, Wax Lips, Root Beer Barrels, Fruit Stripe Gum, Atomic Fireballs, and the politically incorrect bubblegum cigarettes. They have regional candies you can only get in certain parts of the country, like the Goo Goo Clusters. And they have old-fashioned toys and so much more. If you want a trip to the past, click on the banner on our webpage at www.atoddshow.com. You won't be disappointed.
Real radio for real Americans.
Red State Talk Radio.
Hey, Brian, you like beer.
I do.
And liquor, too.
Oh, I enjoy a wee bit.
And I've definitely seen you drink a glass of wine or two.
Yes? Why are you asking me all this?
Well, I found an excellent online source for all kinds of spirits. It's called Wine Globe. They have a fantastic selection of wines, beers, and liquors, from moderate price selections up to high-end and hard-to-find brands. So, if you're interested in ordering your favorite drink or exotic spirits, they're all located at your fingertips. All you have to do is head over to www.atoddshow.com, click on the Wine Globe banner, and start your search today.